We live in a highly constructed world. We spend our days navigating concrete grids, working inside glass skyscrapers, and talking to each other across global digital networks. Yet modern humans, Homo sapiens, have walked the Earth for roughly 300,000 years. If you trace that lineage backward, the vast majority of our story played out long before the first brick was ever laid. For over 99% of human existence, there are no living witnesses. We are left with fragments, a silent skull buried in the dirt. We can't rely on assumptions to fill in those massive gaps. We turn instead to the physical record of the planet, analyzing the soil and stone for signs of our ancestors' behavior. History is the rigorous application of specialized tools and evidence gathering required to illuminate the blind spots of the human timeline and prove how we arrived at the present. To manage these vast periods of time, researchers rely on a structured spatial framework. This animated timeline is a straight horizontal axis that plots out events in strict sequential order. For immense stretches of history, we measure in distinct blocks. A decade spans 10 years, a century covers 100 years, and a millennium groups 1,000 years together. To orient ourselves on this map, we use a central dividing line. Everything prior to the presumed birth of Jesus is labeled BCE, or Before Common Era. Everything after is CE, or Common Era. Because BCE dates count backward, finding out exactly how long ago an ancient event happened requires a specific formula. Let's plot the birth of Buddha at 560 BCE and our current year, 2026 CE. We add the BCE year to the CE year and then subtract 1, because the historical calendar has no year 0. 560 plus 2026 minus 1 equals 2,585 years ago. Calculating the exact mathematical distance between nodes on this timeline provides the chronological structure needed to see which developments had to exist before others could emerge. Recovering this data requires a range of scientific disciplines. Geologists read the age of the Earth through its rock layers, while paleontologists study the remains of ancient plants and animals. To find the human elements, archaeologists excavate structural ruins. They dig through soil and rock to locate the physical remnants of ancient societies. These surviving physical objects, tools, toys, and clay bowls, are called archaeological sources. They offer hard proof of how early communities managed their daily survival. Once human societies developed writing, historians gained access to literary sources and inscriptions. A carved stone tablet provides direct, decipherable messages from ancient governments and citizens. Evidence also comes from oral traditions passed down through generations and personal family records. A handwritten diary shows us the daily, unfiltered reality of civilian life. By cross-referencing a buried clay pot with a carved tablet and a personal journal, researchers can verify the details of an era through multiple independent sources. When we apply this methodology to the deep timeline, a specific sequence of human adaptation emerges. Early modern humans survived in small, nomadic groups as hunters and gatherers, relying on hand-shaped stone tools. They also observed the world around them in deep detail. Artistic sources, like these rock paintings of horned animals, prove they possessed complex observation and culture. This early survival was severely tested by the Ice Age. A massive drop in global temperatures forced nomadic groups into caves and rock shelters to endure the extreme cold alongside massive mammals. When the Earth finally warmed and the Ice Age ended, human behavior began to center around permanent production. The warmer weather allowed humans to plant seeds, grow crops, and domesticate wild animals. Farming anchored these once nomadic groups to riverbanks. Small camps evolved into permanent villages. People began extracting copper and iron from the earth, casting durable tools that made daily labor more efficient. Permanent settlements created complex social changes. Populations boomed, communities shared large tracts of land, metallic coins facilitated active trade networks, and chieftains rose to power to manage the growing societies. Mastering fire, planting a seed, and casting a metal tool were the required sequential steps that allowed modern civilizations to rise. If you follow that sequence into the Common Era, you arrive at documented societal shifts, like the movement of millions during India's 1947 independence. The timeline never stopped. There is an unbroken chain of human adaptation connecting the early cave painters directly to the people alive today. Right now, our digital records, our family photographs, and daily communications are actively generating primary sources that historians of the future will rely on. Studying history gives us the tools to see how our present world was forged, proving we are the active, current chapter in a 300,000-year-old story.